Welcome back. No punishment for bad behavior. A leading doctors group thinks that school suspension is counterproductive, bad for kids.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says, quote, students who experience out-of-school suspension and expulsion are as much as 10 times more likely to ultimately drop out of high school than those who do not.
But shouldn't kids be held accountable for what they do or don't do? Joining us now is best-selling author Larry Winget. Larry, thanks for joining us. I think I understand where you're coming from, and I think I basically agree. On the other hand, isn't it an abdication of responsibility on the part of schools to just kick out kids they can't deal with? Isn't it their job to improve children, make them better, make them learn from their mistakes, rather than just sending them on to have someone else deal with them?
Well, no, I think that it is the teacher's job to teach the kids, and they're stretched pretty thin as it is already. I believe that people should experience the consequences and feel the pain of their bad behavior, and not to do that coddles them in a way that doesn't teach them a good, serious lesson. By sending them home and putting that burden back on the parents so they have to deal with that child when they're sent home, that's a good punishment as well. But the other thing is that if I'm an adult and I go out on the streets and I abuse people and threaten people and maybe physically accost people, I'm going to be put in jail for two reasons. One is punishment, but two is to remove the threat from everybody else so I can't hurt them. And when you out of school suspend a kid because he's threatened other kids, you've removed that threat from those children that are left in the school.
But Larry, let's face it, out-of-school suspension for troublemakers isn't a punishment, it's a vacation. They don't want to go to school. So when you give them out-of-school suspension, that's like, hey, 2 days off. Isn't there something else that the disciplinarians in schools could do that sends the same message without sending them home?
You know, I think you're right. That is the case with some kids. But face it, a lot of kids just want attention. And if we leave them in the school, we're giving them that attention. And when we take that away from them by suspending them, we remove that, and then we've removed all of their impetus for being bad because they don't get the attention that they really ultimately deserve. I think that suspending kids is just one tool in the toolbox. I don't think it's the ultimate answer for everybody. So I think you've got to be able to have lots of things that you can rely on, but you can't take away this powerful punishment, and it should be seen as a punishment.
If these statistics are true that we were talking about earlier as we led into your segment, and these kids end up, having all sorts of problems down the line as a result of it, then doesn't it fall on society to help support them in that way? Won't we end up footing the bill if they end up in jail? Doesn't it fall to us then? And couldn't we do more preventative movements here at the beginning to try to stop this?
You know, I think that is also the responsibility of the parent to make sure that the kid does better when they're young. I don't think that you can put it all on the school. That means that the school is going to get out of the job of teaching and more in the job of being psychologists and holding their hand while they're growing up. I don't think that's their job at all. Besides that, there are some kids who are just bad kids. I really do believe that, and they can't be left in the middle of all the good kids to disrupt their learning. And we have to take that into account too. You can't disrupt the classroom trying to hold little Johnny's hand because he doesn't want his hand held, and he's going to disrupt no matter what you do for him. Remove him, remove the threat, remove the distraction, and let the people who are there to learn get back to learning.
All right. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Interesting points.
Coming up, Julietta Rancic taking